Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing out there tonight? I want to welcome everybody to another episode of Mannimal Research. I am joined tonight, as always, by the lovely and talented Mr. Ricky Weaver. How you doing tonight, Ricky?
Doing good, man. You?
Yeah, we're doing good. Doing good out this way. Want to again say hello to everybody that's out there that's going to watch us live tonight, and those of you that's going to watch it later. I want to say thank you. Want to ask that you guys head over whenever we're done here and you get a chance. Head over to our website, check it out there, Mannimal Research. Got any encounters, anything like that? Be happy to have you share them. Love to talk to you about them. If you guys want to come on, be a guest on the show, we could talk about that. Or if you guys want to stay private, we'll protect your anonymity as well. So yeah, check out our website there. Also, everybody watching, like always, we ask that you subscribe to our channel if you like what you're seeing. We've had pretty good uptick in subscribers lately, and we appreciate that, guys. We really do. But we're nowhere near done. We're nowhere near satisfied. So we need some more, guys. So you guys like what you're seeing? Help just support the show, guys. Help us out. Ricky, we hung out in the woods a little bit last week, huh, buddy?
Yeah, we did. Wound up with some pretty interesting stuff. I think we all got a little bamboozled a time or two. Got a little scared there a couple of times.
To to say the least, buddy. You're 100% right. I'll tell everybody else what I've told a couple people. All these expeditions we've done, man, all the times we've been out, we've had some pretty hairy encounters, some pretty sketchy things happen. But this was the only time that I have ever just refused to go on a walk in the middle of the night with you guys. I can't explain that feeling, man. I've heard people talk about this feeling that they get become overcome with, and it just overwhelms them. And I've always wondered what that felt like, and now I know. Cause man, I wanted no part of walking around those woods, and I know you and Blake decided that y'all were going to. Yeah, well, let me say hey to Blake first. Blake was with us. There we are. There's three of us. What's up, Blake? So you and Blake took off walking, and you guys, how long were you guys gone before y'all turned around?
Maybe maybe 10 minutes at the most. Uh,
At the most, 10 minutes.
right.
We heard some kind of sound, and I'm in the middle of researching, trying to find out what kind of sound that was. You don't think it was a coyote. I don't think it was a coyote. It was one individual creature making some just terrible sound. It sounded almost like the most evil laugh you have ever heard in your entire life. It sounded like a laugh. And then it would go quiet for 10 or 12, 15 seconds, and then it would hit it again. And this went on for like 10 or 15 minutes. We got some of that on audio, didn't we, Ricky?
Yeah, we sure did. I've got actually 13 hours of audio that I'm going through on one of the recorders, and I've got about I think 6 8 hours on one of the other recorders. As soon as I get those done, I'll post everything. And I've got a couple of them finished up from the expedition that Blake and I did a couple of weeks ago over at Blue Ridge, and I'm fixing to
Okay,
post
good
those
deal.
too on Mannimal Research. And let y'all guys see what you think about those.
Okay. Yeah, of course, Ricky's talking about our Facebook group, Manimal Research. Go if you guys aren't a member there, go check us out there and hit that join button. Um, yeah, as far as our website, I've already got a few pictures from this last weekend or this last week's expedition up on there. But man, that's the most scared that I've been in a long time, Ricky. I mean, I consider myself someone that doesn't scare very easily, but I didn't, whatever that thing was out there, it didn't sound happy, and I didn't want any part of it. So,
Well, it was, you know, excuse me, it wasn't just the actual sound that the creature was making. It's just, I don't know. Uh, it's just the feeling that I got. And I know you said you were overwhelmed with this wild feeling too, and also my grandson Blake himself. So it was just it was a weird night.
It was a very strange night. Also, even before all of that, we found something. We found actually you found it. Found some kind of a track out there, and I'm going to show it right here. We took a cast of it. There's the cast in the ground that we had poured, and we found this just outside of our camp. There it is. And
Yeah,
to us,
actually, I'd like to point out that now this was going down like a little embankment down below the camp, at the backside of the camp, and what it appeared to be to us, it looked like where one had went off that little bank, and he had put his hand down in a pile of real loose dirt, dirt that had been pushed in there from where a tree had uprooted. And as you can see, the size of Wayne's hand there, and the finger markings on this thing was a good, probably what, 6 inches longer than yours.
Oh yeah, yeah. And actually we had Daryl on a little while back, and this was his handprint. His turned out a lot better than ours. If ours was even a hand, we're not so arrogant that we're claiming that it absolutely is a Sasquatch hand. We're saying that's what it looked like. But this one I feel confident saying is a Sasquatch hand, since he's had it confirmed. And what got me was the measurements are the exact same. They're both 14 inches. Both 14 inches long. I mean, it could be a coincidence, yeah, but it seems to me like it's could be an adult Bigfoot running around out there, and like you said, kind of put his hand down as he was walking down that bank, and that's what it looked like to us. Looked like it so much that we ended up taking a cast of it. The like you said, that dirt was so loose. It was also clumpy and has some pebbles in it. That's how you got all them little holes in it, and it's just not enough definition in there really to say definitively. But man, that's what it looked like. Don't you think?
Right. Oh yes, that's what it looked to me like. And as I explained to you earlier, Wayne, as far as the way the imprint was actually left in the soft dirt in the ground, I was really afraid to do any kind of work on it, trying to build it up any at all, where we could actually pour a better cast.
Yeah.
Because of losing definition to what was already there. So, that's the reason that the print actually turned out the way it did.
Yeah, but I'd rather have what we got than not have anything.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
A couple other things. That's your grandson, Ethan. And that's a really, really, or a very large ark that we found out there. It just looked really, really strange to me. I don't really know why that.
I'll have to point out that Ethan is I think like 5. He's taller than I am. I'm 5'8". He's probably 5'10".
Yeah, Ethan's a tall kid. He's what, 14 years old? Will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a pretty tall kid.
Oh yeah. He's gonna be bigger than Grandpa.
Yeah.
But, you can tell from the size of that ark, where he's standing there, and the size of the tree itself. It takes a pretty good sized animal to do something like that.
Yeah, there again, if it is an animal, we didn't see a Bigfoot grab this thing and pull it over, but it is reported all the time that this is activity that they do. So that's what it looks like, and I don't know what else would have done that. I mean, did the wind blow it and hold it over there permanently? I mean, I don't know what's causing that tree to grow that way. I don't know. Maybe somebody out there smarter than me knows, and if they do, yeah, fill everybody in, because there's a lot of people that claim that's Bigfoot activity. And also, this tree right here looks really stood out to us because if you look up there at the top, that tree or limb, it has to be a tree. It's way too big to be a limb. The tree was broken off. It's not a cut mark. And how did it get that high up in the tree? That's what I want to know. The tree didn't fall naturally. Something had to have propped that limb up that way. And that was, what would you say, 17, 18 foot in the air?
Right.
Yeah, that the limb that one's sitting on. And the back side up there is where the tree broke off. So how did the break end up that high off the ground? I don't understand that. Just felt like that was interesting too. So yeah, all in all, I think it was a really, really successful trip. Our boy Walls didn't get to come because it was during the week, and he's one of them important fellers that has to keep working through all this. So appreciate what you're doing, Walls. And we certainly missed him. Certainly missed him.
Yeah, Blake here says that stood out to him more than anything.
And I ain't even had a chance to look at the comments yet, but looks like we got quite a few of them up there. All right, well, let's talk about tonight, buddy. We've gone a little bit longer than we normally do, but we had a lot to talk about. Tonight we got Mr. Travis Bowen. Very, very, very excited to have him for a couple of reasons. First of all, his encounters are pretty awesome, and he's gonna come on and talk about them. He's had 3 visuals and plenty of other encounters. He's in Virginia, and I was introduced to Travis, who, again, I'm going to say Travis is a great guy. Me and him been talking quite a bit. We talk very regularly, he and I do, sharing ideas and stuff like that. Think so much of him that we asked him if he wanted to come aboard with us and become a member of Mannimal Research and handle everything out that way being Virginia. We actually met Travis through Michael Patterson. Sure, some of y'all remember who Michael Patterson is. He had the run-in with the white Bigfoot back in, was it the late 70s? 70s or 80s, I'm not sure. Long time ago. Long time ago. Yeah. And so Travis and Michael are good buddies. And Michael told me that night that you gotta talk to my buddy Travis, and so he hooked it up and we started talking, and I extended the invitation to him for him to come aboard and handle stuff out that way, build him a team and start doing research, and he accepted, and we're very, very happy to have him. So anybody out there in Virginia that's out there doing research or wanting to, maybe interested in getting out there and getting your hands dirty, getting your feet on the ground, start doing some Bigfoot research, get a hold of Travis there. I'm sure he'll talk to you, and I can take you out. And if you want to join up with us and start doing some research, we'd be glad to have you. So get in touch with Travis. All that being said, Ricky, you got anything else before we bring him on?
No, bring Travis on. Let's hear his encounters.
All right. There he is. Travis, how's it going, buddy?
Oh, pretty good. How y'all doing?
Doing good. Doing good. First of all, Travis, that's not his normal voice. He's had the flu, so he's still fighting it. So he's a little bit hoarse, but I think you're gonna make it, ain't you, buddy?
Yeah, I think I'll pull through.
Yeah. All right. Well, Travis, we talked you up just a little bit. Again, I've told you before, and I just told our audience. I'll tell you again. Just tickled to have you aboard, buddy. You found some real good stuff. I haven't figured out how to post videos on here yet to share with the audience. I don't even know if it's possible, but you've got a real interesting FLIR video that I did share to our Facebook group, and it's pretty compelling, man. You've been doing some good stuff out there, and I'm glad to have you, buddy.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I enjoy doing it.
All right, Travis. What I always ask everybody was, before you got into this subject, what was your knowledge of Bigfoot, and were you a believer at all? And before that, just what did you think about it? And just walk us in, talk to us about that first encounter, buddy.
Well, I mean, growing up, I grew up rural on a farm. I've lived here my whole life. As far as Bigfoot went, I mean, no one here any kind of way ever talked about it. There was never, no sightings well, I'm not going to say there weren't any sightings. People didn't talk about it. My only real knowledge of Bigfoot would have been on like a, same level as a kid as a ghost or a UFO or anything unknown. It was just something creepy and interesting. That was pretty much it. I mean, every once in a while it'd be some TV show or movie that might have something to do with it, or some little bitty tidbit on the local news somewhere out in the Northwest, or but nothing in depth. And really, it was getting on into my adult life before I really had what I would call an experience that I just couldn't explain away as something just normal and natural. I mean, I spent my whole life in the woods as a kid. I mean, I grew up on about 140 acre farm that sat inside of about 6,000 to 7,000 acres of
Wow.
2 other farms. So it's very rural. And I mean, growing up, I mean, I ripped and ran in woods barefoot, no care in the world, up and down the creek bottoms, and just, no thought or no worry about anything like that. And I didn't realize this at the time. I was 10 or 12 years old, so this would have been around 1991, 2, somewhere in there. It was looking back in hindsight from what I know now. My daddy and my brother and me, my younger brother, were coming up a creek bottom. And this is all the same area where I've had most of my encounters at. We found what was left of a doe in the fork of a poplar tree. About 9. I'm on roughly guess around 9. My daddy's 6'3", and it was probably a good 3 feet over his head. So probably about 9 feet up a tree in the fork of a tree. Now, of course, we all just kind of standing there like, how in the world did that deer get in the fork of that tree? I'll go ahead and discount the flooding idea, and the only reason being is the highest that creek had ever flooded was in 1996 when Hurricane Fran tore up through here. And even at that, it was only about 4 feet deep in the floodplain. That is the highest that creek has ever been in my lifetime. So there's no way water got that deer that high in that tree.
No, it wasn't water.
Possibly a mountain lion. They're not supposed to be here, but people do see them. And I do believe it to see them because I know the people that have. I've never seen one personally, but I know people that have that I trust. But all the reading and research I've done, mountain lions do not take kills up trees. They cover them on the ground, whatever they don't consume. So something put that deer in that tree about 9 feet off the ground. Now, like I say, back then, that was nowhere on my scope, range, radar, being anything. It was just weird, one of them weird things. So anyways, the next real strange experience I would have had, I was 14, 15 years old. This would have been 3 or 4 years later. I had gone squirrel. Well, I was more or less scouting for deer. I took a 22. Squirrel season was in. Black powder deer season was coming up. So I had walked from the house on the farm all the way up. I grew up just down a dirt road. Like I say, it's very rural. Crossed the dirt road, went on up in us a huge block of land, across that dirt road. And this creek, good-sized creek, runs down through there. And there's a ridge line that kind of runs parallel to that creek. The creek runs basically west to east, makes a dead 90-degree turn south, zigzags a little bit, but that ridge line runs with it. And we always called it the bluff. Everybody down there calls it the bluff. It's big, tall, steep hill. And I had gone up in there, and back then it was old growth oaks. It's been logged since, but it's growing back now, pretty good size. But back then it was very old growth oaks. And I was up on that hill, and I had spotted, I was 4 or 5 does upstream a creek down. I was up on the ridge. They were down the ridge slightly to my right, probably 150 yards maybe. And I had a 22 bolt action rifle with a 4-power scope. And I was just looking through the scope, watching the deer to see if any of them were bucks, you know. And anyways, while I'm watching, I'm down behind a big old fallen oak tree, just laid across the log there, you know, watching them. Had a crosswind. No way they winded me. Didn't know I was there. I wasn't moving. And the lead doe got spooked. I saw her look back up on the ridge where they come from, and she pinned her ears back and her tail went straight up. And then she started to stomp her front feet. She done that 2 or 3 times. And she blew and they tore out of there. I didn't think too much of it, you know. Well, it's getting on late, sun's setting. This is early fall. I'm thinking end of October, getting close to Halloween. Black powder season here starts on election day in November. Well, it did. I'm sorry, it did back then. And so still a lot of leaves on the trees. But anyways, I didn't have a light. I had a good walk. So I started on out of there. And I'm working my way down the ridge line to get back to the cow pasture because that's the easiest way out. Just walk the pasture. And I started thinking I'm hearing something behind me. And this never happened to me before. But my initial thought was I was hearing myself echoing because I have deer hunting, rabbit hunting, just out in the woods, heard myself, especially walking along the edge of woods, actually hear your own footsteps. Sounds like you're being shadowed. Well, I decided to stop real quick because if it was me, the sound, of course, would have to stop. Well, I stopped, and whatever this thing was took 2 steps, and it stopped. It was behind me. I'm just out of memory, going to best guess 60, 70 yards. I don't know. It wasn't real close to me. It was close enough I could hear it, but I couldn't see it. It was getting dark. Like I say, it's big oak woods, but I mean, in places you can see a good ways, but in places you can't either because there's smaller trees in there too. So it kind of rattled me a little bit. I kept on walking, and I decided to do it one more time, just make sure I was hearing what I thought I was hearing. Stop. Sure enough, 2 steps, it stopped. And that was when it really it hit me in the gut right there. That's the first time in my life I'd ever really been scared in the woods. Because I'd never had, I mean, you know, we ain't got grizzly bears or packs of wolves. There really ain't nothing to fear here in these woods. And that scared me because, first of all, I know something else is there. Second of all, it's not afraid of me if it's following me. Third of all, I don't believe it was a person because I had a rifle. And from a distance, they couldn't tell I only had a 22. But either way, it don't matter. I got a gun, period. So I keep on. I'm just trying to get to the pasture. Just more light, less shadows. And finally, as you work your way along that ridge, it slopes down pretty gradually. There's actually an old road bed in there. This is old plantation land, you know, pre-Civil War. And this old sunken road bed, that's what I was walking. And I finally got, I don't know, within 20, 25 feet of the fence, which was just inside the woods of the pasture. I took off in a dead run. I hit the fence, put my hand on the post, hopped the top wire. I mean, I was gone. And I ran out into the pasture. And I actually spun around and dropped down on one knee with that rifle because I was actually expecting something to be after me. I had gotten to that point, and there was nothing there. I didn't hear anything, didn't see anything. I walked home all the way along the pasture, had to cross the dirt road, cross the bridge over the creek, and the rest of that was wide open bean fields on our farm. And I had told my younger brother, he's 4 years younger than me, and one of my cousins who I've been close with over the years, I had told him about it because we used to camp and stuff, you know, we rip and run all over the place. And they didn't believe me. They was picking on me, you know, you scared, this, that, and the other. And I said, well, y'all don't believe me, we'll go up there and camp out one night. I said, something was following me. I mean, I knew it was. So it ended up, this was 3 or 4 years later. I was 18 years old. And we went up there that afternoon and set up a 4-man tent, gathered up a big mess, you know, firewood, got set up. And we actually left for a while. We come back later. It was 10, 11 o'clock at night before we actually went back. And walking in the same way I did years before along a pasture. And as we're walking in, to our right is a creek just inside the woods, and everything on the other side of the creek is just woods. And sure enough, I mean, maybe third, halfway in, I started thinking I was hearing something walking across the creek. Well, once again, I'm thinking possibly I'm hearing us echo. So finally I stopped and I told them, I said, I swear I think I hear something walking. And both of them looked at me and said, yeah, they were thinking they were hearing something too. So I said, all right, walk away. So I'll do 3, 2, 1, stop. We'll all stop. And we did. Sure as the world, we stopped, 2 steps, it stopped just across the creek. So we done it one more time, same thing over. Done it one more time to make sure, same thing. So at this point, we do know there is something on the other side of that creek keeping pace with us. Now, back in these days, we did not have thermal imaging, night vision. All we had was a rechargeable spotlight, a couple flashlights, just low tech. I did take a shotgun. I had 12 gauge buckshot. I wanted something a little bit better than 22.
Mm-hmm.
But we get on up there to a camp. We get a fire going. There's a big sandbar right there on the creek. And whatever this was basically circled us up until about 4 o'clock in the morning. It would slowly work its way up one side. We'd actually hear it cross the creek. We could hear it get in the water. We could hear like the current of the water change. You know, if you stand and move in water, you can hear it go around your legs.
Mm-hmm.
We could actually hear that. And it wasn't like a splashing. It was very slow and quiet. It was just very methodical. And the scariest point that night, actually, and I'm not trying to promote fear of this, but when you're in the woods at night, and something like this goes on, it's scary no matter what. We had the spotlight, you know what I mean? Of course, we're like on alert. We know something is out there. So we got this good fire going, and we keep looking with a spotlight, but in the woods at night with spotlight, you can only see so far. I mean, everything in front of you flares that light in your face. Well, where we had our camp set up, we were maybe 40, 50 yards up the creek into the woods from the pasture. It was a good sized pasture. Well, one time when I scanned the light, I caught an eye shine in that pasture. So me and my brother decided to go check this thing out. My cousin, he stayed behind at the fire. So we take off out there. End up, it was a possum. He was standing there sideways, I don't know, rooting around something. We just saw that one eye shine. Well, about the time we're out there realizing it's a possum, kind of laughing it off, my cousin goes screaming bloody murder. We think, the way he sounded, something got him. So we had the gun. All he had was fire. So we go running back, and he's standing there, pointing, yelling, carrying on. And don't get me wrong, he don't scare easy. He's not that kind of guy. He's real laid back, real level, kind of one of them tough guys. He don't scare easy. What he said was he was standing there between the fire and the water itself. He was actually peeing in the creek, and he said something come charging up through the bushes on the other side of the creek and actually ran all the way up to the side. He thought it was actually going to come down the creek bank. And when he went to yelling for us to come back, he turned around and ran back. Now, he couldn't really see it because all he had was a firelight. But all he said was it sounded big. So I don't know if it thought we all left and it couldn't see him because the fire was behind him and was going to run up real quick, check out our camp, or if it was actually trying to scare him. I don't know. But like I say, it circled us on up till about 4 in the morning, and finally it got quiet. We didn't hear it anymore. I don't know if it left or quit moving.
Well, y'all are some brave kids for even going out there when you saw something following you.
Well, like I say, growing up, we just, there was nothing for us to fear in the woods. It just, we didn't have big predators as far as we knew, so, but that night really got us really interested. Like, and even then it still wasn't, we were like it wasn't Bigfoot for us. That just wasn't really, my cousin called it the boogeyman. That was our running joke, is a boogeyman, something in the woods that follows you around. but it still wasn't for us. We hadn't found any footprints. We hadn't seen anything. You know, we didn't know. So that was in the spring. I think it was the same year. Like I said, it's been a long time ago, so I don't want to tell you wrong, but I think it was that following fall. We were going to camp again, and I was going to go deeper, farther up the creek. And that particular night, it was like 5 of us going. It was my brother, 2 of my cousins, a couple buddies, you know. Well, all of them had something to do. You know, one of them had to go see his girlfriend. One of them wanted to go do just whatever. So I said, well, look, I'm going up there. I told my brother where we would be because he was the only other one that actually knew where I would be, that actually knew that land. And I went on up there that night by myself. And which now I was carried, at that point, I had an AR-15. I was carrying that. And I had a decent-sized Bowie knife on my belt. And the reason I'm telling you that, there's a point to that in a minute. So I get on up there, and where I decided to actually camp at was where that creek made that right angle turn from the east flow to flowing south. I had actually set up camp at the base of the bluff next to the creek at that turn, and the bluff followed suit with that creek. So I'd been up there a while. I walked up there in the dark, you know, set up camp, got some wood and everything, you know. And all my brother and cousin buddies, they were all, one of my buddies had a big old jacked up GMC, built motor loud, had 38 and a halves, you know, great big old loud truck. They actually drove in. There used to be a road you could drive in across the creek. It was only a couple hundred yards away. And I mean, of course, I could hear them coming, and I could see the headlights, and they stopped, and I could see the cab light come on. They all getting out the truck, they talking, laughing, whatever. Well, I had left my rifle at the fire and kind of walked around the bend of that creek, just standing there, you know, waiting for them to get straight and kind of, you know, I was going to kind of guide them to me. And I heard something up on the hill above me, up to my right. And it was a pretty good moonlit night. I mean, the sky had some light to it, and it wasn't a real loud sound. It was just enough to catch my attention. I looked up, in between 2 trees. It was like that spot was filled up, and I kind of looked, and I was trying to get my eyes to adjust, and that was about the time one of them shut the truck door. It turned and ran. When it turned and ran, I saw it wasn't. I mean, a deer, a bear, or even a cow are like slick. Like their silhouette looks slick, smooth. What I saw was grizzled, shaggy, matted, not slick. And it was big and it was tall. And it tore out of there.
It was on 2 legs, 2 feet.
I couldn't see his legs or his feet. All I could see what I would assume would be the head and shoulders. But for the height of what it had to be on 2 feet, because it was a vertical profile, and okay. It was a very quick glimpse. And that, even then, I wasn't sure what I was seeing. I mean, I really had to process it in my mind, but that would actually be my first true visual sighting. And it was really a silhouette against the skyline, because like I say, that hillside is almost vertical. It is extremely steep, and it was up on that hill. So I was actually seeing the silhouette against the skyline. If it hadn't been against the skyline, I wouldn't have been able to see it. But the thing that was so spooky about it was, first of all, it was extremely quiet, like really quiet. And I mean, I could tell it was way bigger than I am. And looking back on all of it, I think it was actually standing on that hill watching them over there across that creek. And I think when they slammed that truck door, they didn't like it. It spooked it, whatever. But the thing that really creeped me out about it was, I'm pretty sure it was up there on that hill the whole time. I'd been there at that fire by myself for over an hour.
Yeah, that's scary to think about.
Yeah,
man.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it was gone.
I get that from a lot of reports that these things will actually stand and watch you. And I know from some of the experiences that I've had over the years, these things have actually just stood in the tree line and just watch you for what seems like hours, and you never know they're there.
Right.
Travis, on your encounters, did you ever notice any type of weird smell or anything of that nature?
I never have. the 3 actual sightings I have had, that first one being the first one, the second one was actually in night vision, and that was a glimpse of eye shine from the owl illuminator. And the only reason I will tell you that I believe that's what it was for the size of the eyes, the width, and the height. And that was quick. The wind wasn't in my, I'll tell you the truth, the 3 times I've actually had my encounters, the wind was not in my favor all 3 times. I do pay attention to the wind. And all 3 times, they were downwind of me. I would assume intentionally. I have been out in the woods a couple times and smelled what I would say was a wet, rotten dog smell.
Right.
But on the other hand of that, I do a lot of coyote hunting, and coyotes tend to have that smell too. So I'm not going to say that I wouldn't smell a coyote, but that's the closest thing I can compare it to. I mean, it's almost make you nauseous. And I've smelled that randomly, just out deer hunting, rabbit hunting, you know. But with my three personal, actual, what I'll say sightings, I didn't smell anything. But like I say, the wind wasn't in my favor either.
Right.
So,
Okay.
that night after that was uneventful, nothing else.
Now, did you tell them what you had seen?
I didn't that night. I only told my brother, my cousin. I was reluctant to come out with a lot of this stuff when I was younger. I didn't have the same personality I do now. I was a little bit more shy and reserved. I really now I don't care. I tell anybody. I know what I saw. As like people say, you believe in Bigfoot. So no, I know about Bigfoot. There's a difference, you know. But no, back then I told my brother, my cousin. Reason being, they had been there and experienced what I had, so they knew something was really off and weird going on in that block of land.
Yeah.
The next real off weird, it was other smaller things. You know, I've been up there. I mean, plenty of times got followed, paced. But it was one night, me and that same cousin and a friend of mine went up there camping, and it started raining that night about 10, 11 o'clock. It was miserable. Got to raining, and I will tell you, it's the last time I spent the night in a tent. Matter of fact, I will not sleep in a tent. We got in the tent, you know, it was raining off and on all night. And it was around 4 that morning. I was laying there still. I didn't get wet. I didn't bring a change of clothes. I'm laying there wet and couldn't sleep. And rain on the tent, you know, sporadic was keeping me up. And I could hear something come walking down the creek bottom. Heavy. I mean, sounded bipedal. Not overly loud, just it was steady and obvious.
Yeah.
And it walked right up behind the tent. It stopped. And I could actually hear it breathing. And what looked to be either a nose or a finger didn't like poke or hit it, like real slow, just pushed on the back of that tent 2 or 3 times, like just feeling of it. And it walked on down the creek bottom out of here. That was it. But that was the last time I slept in a tent. that cured me of tents right there.
Yeah. So that's the reason you don't sleep in tents no more?
That was it for me. No more. I'll put a tarp up and I'll sleep under it, but I'm not sleeping inside of a tent. I won't do it. Yeah. Because a tent is just false protection. All it does is keep you from seeing what's outside.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. You got no protection in a tent.
No.
None at all.
No. Yeah,
So you're not counting that as one of your sightings, though, right?
I wouldn't call that a sighting, but I mean, whatever it was, definitely wasn't using no flashlight. And it was pouring down rain at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm talking about slap in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and a person, I mean, that's a good way to get yourself shot.
Exactly. Well,
So
and I did have a rifle in the tent to boot.
So it wasn't no person. And I mean, I don't know, man. That's scary right there. That's frightening.
Well, that was, you know, and my buddy, and I'll tell you, my buddy was asleep, but my cousin, he was awake because right after it walked off, he sat straight up. He actually scared me half death. I thought he was asleep. And he just like shot up, like looked at me like, what was that? And I was like, I don't know. And he said, let's go out there and look. I was like, I ain't going out there. Just let it go. It's going, let it leave.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounded big, just moving. I can't explain that anymore what I'm telling you, but it was just really weird. And the other thing that happened really associated with all of this, I grew up on a farm across the road from this. We walked up in there from the farm, and which was a good walk. Don't get me wrong, but for a while when all this was going on, someone or something would come knock on our door at night, and nobody would ever be there. And the farm, you could not drive into it without us seeing it because the headlights would hit the house coming down. We lived about a half a mile off the dirt road. And during the summertime, we had anywhere from 8 to 10 long-legged rabbit beagles loose. And anybody coming down the driveway, they go crazy. But the nights that whoever or whatever knocked on the door, sometimes front door, sometimes back door, them dogs never made a peep. And that happened a few times. I witnessed it, my brother, my mama, and my daddy.
So something would just knock on the door, just like somebody,
Quick 3, just knock, knock, knock. And
just like anybody walking up, knocking on the door, wanting to come in.
Yeah, you throw the light on, nothing was there. That went on a few weeks, actually to the point I sat outside in the backyard. We had 2 white pines. It was probably about 20 feet tall, had low limbs. It was several nights I actually sat out there under them white pines waiting, trying to catch who or whatever was knocking.
That's very, very interesting because it makes you think that these things had been watching your house for a while and had seen visitors come up and knock on the door. And so maybe thought they would mimic doing that. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, and this didn't start until we started messing around up in that block of woods camp. We always hunted up there, but it's like once we started camping and spending the night, I guess maybe we were messing with them. Because nobody else goes up in there at night. I mean, they don't. Like I said, this is very remote.
Now, Travis, as a young man, could you remember, you grew up on a farm, could you remember ever having any of your farm animals come up missing, anything of that nature?
We had chickens come up missing over the years, but there was never once that I would say was unexplainable. And we did have 3 or 4 hunting beagles never come home. The rest of them did, and the other ones didn't. But now I will add to that, this has only been 4 or 5 years ago. My cousin's farm is down there in the same area, it's all attached to the same block of land. He had 26 chickens come up missing in one night. No blood, no feathers, no nothing. 26 chickens just disappeared at the chicken house. Now one night. He said, yep, coyotes. I said, ain't no way coyotes took 26 chickens.
And didn't leave a mess behind.
No. They were gone, just gone. That was it.
Now, this property, is this family property?
The farm I grew up on is family owned. My uncle
How long had your family owned it?
My grandpa bought that land, I want to say around 1940. So I mean, it's been in my family a long time.
So your dad grew up on it?
Yeah.
Have you ever talked to your dad about anything that he went through when he was younger, or maybe that he talked to your grandpa about? Anybody else in your family have any kind of incidents before you started having yours?
Random and sporadic. My dad is a skeptic. I'm going to tell you right now. He's a skeptic on everything. He even heard the knocking on the door one night. He was going to bed, and right after he walked, just as soon as he walked by the back door, somebody or something knocked on it. And he threw on it. We had a post light in the backyard. He threw on the light and there wasn't nobody, nothing there. It was like, knock, knock, half rate. And even then, he was just like, well, whatever. And he went on to bed.
Some people, man, they just I believe, and it's nothing against your dad. It's old timers. I believe that one could run up right in front of them and stick
I'm
their
a,
hand out to shake it, and they would say, "Man, the strangest bear come up to me today."
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Now I can tell you, my aunt, it's my daddy's sister. Years and years ago, before I was even born, I'm 40 years old. It's been pre 1980. I think her car broke down. Maybe I don't remember exactly. But the point of the story is she had to walk that dirt road after dark, and she said that she heard someone. This is how she said it. Someone walking in the gravels behind her, but she didn't have a light to where she could see, and they followed her ways, and then they stopped. Like I say, this is the middle of nowhere. Even to this day, it's still nobody out there. I mean, on that whole road, there's only two houses on it. You know,
and this was who and where was she going?
this was my aunt coming. She actually was on her way home. Her car broke down and was going to have to walk the rest of the way along that dirt road, coming to the driveway down there at the farm. It said that this is her words, someone was following her on the dirt road.
There's something to that, you know, because
Well,
in order for someone to say someone instead of something, something had to have happened to lead them to think that this is a person, and that's terrifying, man. Because I've heard, and I'm sure you guys have too, so many horror stories about how these things are attracted to or curious about women and children, and I
yeah,
think that the curiosity for women is not a good thing. It's more of a sinister thing, and you hear about it, man. So that's terrifying. That is absolutely terrifying.
well, I mean that'll lead me up to what happened be 4 years ago. This month, matter of fact.
Okay.
So me and my mama and my oldest daughter, she was 14 at the time. My daughter, not my mama, but we had decided to go down there. They like fun, scary stuff anyway. Like I say, also is old pre-Civil War plantation land. And up this all the same block of woods up across that dirt road. There's actually actually three that I know of slave cemeteries. These were slaves that worked that plantation land before the Civil War. And I mean, they're just out in the woods, sunken graves with unmarked, just basically rocks. But they're just spooky and interesting. Anyways, they wanted to go up there, so we actually parked my truck in the driveway of the farm there, my farm, my uncle's farm, and we walked pretty good ways to get where we were going. And we did all this before dark. And about dark, it was actually my mama's idea. I had heard the fall before. Me and some friends were down there coyote hunting. We had actually heard a tree knock from up on that block of land. We were loading up, getting ready to leave around midnight or so, and heard a tree knock. It's the first time I'd ever heard one. And wasn't even sure that's what I heard, but I mean, I'd seen it on TV. So I did a whoop, which I can't do right now because I'm way too hoarse to even do it, but I did a whoop, and it whooped back perfect. And that was it. We didn't hear anything else. Anyways, I had told my mama about that. So here we are the following spring, right about dark. It was her idea. She said, "Why don't you do some tree knocks?" And this literally was like a fun, ha kind of thing. It just wasn't, you know. And I found me a decent stick, and I did 3 or 4 or 5 knocks. I've never done this. This just really just like on a whim fun. Didn't hear anything. I did 3 or 4 more, and way down across the creek, I got 3 knocks back. Just obvious. I mean, plain as day, 3 knocks. And, kind of like, I actually got more excited than anything. Mm-hmm. So I did 3 knocks back. I mimicked just knock, knock, knock. Well, I'm going to guess maybe 100 yards down the hill into the planet. We were standing in like where that old cemetery is basically like some oaks. It's fairly open. That immediately goes into planted pines, which you can walk through, but you can't see very far in them. They're fairly thick. This thing was maybe 100 yards down the hill in Planet Pines, knocked back 3 times. I'm talking about when it knocked back, I actually jumped. It was so loud. And I turned around and looked at Mama and Taylor, my daughter, and I kind of grinned because still at this point, I'm actually still excited because this is like really happening, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a whoop. And it didn't whoop. It did like this really deep, a lot deeper and a lot more guttural than what I can do. But I mean, it was like a back at us. And at that point, to be honest with you, that to me, it didn't sound very friendly or inviting.
Yeah.
I eased back over. Now I did have a sidearm. I had a 45 pistol on my belt, and I had my AR-15 rifle that I predator hunt with at night. That had a fully digital infrared night-day scope on it. You know, this is not a light gathering scope. It relies solely on an infrared illuminator at night. So, like I say, I mean, at this point, it's getting dark, so I go ahead and get that scope and the IR light going. And I mean, it was coming. We could hear it. It wasn't loud, but we could hear it very slowly working its way kind of down around the lower side of the hill to our right. And my daughter actually had a video camera going. All this was on video. We didn't actually catch it on video. Caught a split-second eye shine right at the end. But I don't tell you. I think I whooped again. I don't remember. I know it grunted one more time at us because my daughter didn't hear it grunt the first time. She heard it the second time because you can actually see the camera shake. And she whispered, she said, "Daddy, I don't want to do this anymore." She got scared. And honestly, by this point, I had gone from excited. I was still extremely curious and interested, but I was getting very protective because I mean, I had my mom and my daughter,
Yeah.
with me, and I'm the only thing. They didn't have a gun. No, I mean, I was all they had, and I really, honestly, still wasn't. I wasn't sold on the fact of what I was dealing with. I just knew something managed to pick a stick up, hit a tree with it, running at me twice, and it's coming. It was deliberately coming. But the thing that really rattled me more than anything was I had that scope going, and those are great scopes. I mean, the resolution's great. I mean, it's 1080p. You can't beat it for the money. I mean, at night you can pick it out real good. And I mean, this thing managed to stay out of my vision in that scope until it had snuck around, basically kind of behind and to my right. What ended up being only about 20 yards away when I realized it was too close. And I just gave up on the scope. And that same rifle, it's a Armalite AR-15 M4 with a 4-rail Picatinny. I have a 900 lumen, just white LED tack light mounted on the left side of the forearm. I threw that on, just white. I didn't have enough. And it got too. I knew it was close. I just didn't know how close. I threw it on. I swept left to right. I typically go left to right. It's just a habit, whatever. I wished I went right to left. I didn't even right to face. I went left to right, and that dude, what he had done was got the edge of the field, snuck up the edge of that field, slipped in right there between 2 cedar trees. And as I hit him with the light, he had already turned to run, and all I saw was right shoulder, basically like his tricep and elbow. It's a full back, right buttock and leg, and it was really shaggy, matted. I mean, it's actually nasty looking, like a light, dirty blonde, almost like a light colored golden retriever. But it wasn't like hair like a deer has. I mean, it was like, I actually said it before, it almost sounded like a cheap wig from a Halloween store. That looked like what it was covered in. It was just shaggy, nasty looking.
What
But
color?
that dude, it was a very light, I would say a light, dirty blonde. Overall, it was mostly a dirty blonde color. I would compare it to a golden retriever with less red in it. That's the best thing I compare it to.
How we got started talking about you was when we had Michael Patterson, and Rick asked a real good question, which was, has anybody else in the area had any reports about a white Sasquatch? And he told us about you.
Yeah.
So would you say that it could have been white but dirty, maybe?
It's possible. It really is. Because I mean, I'm gonna say I literally saw it for a second, and I actually hit it. I went from dark to a 900 lumen white LED light quick. So I'm not gonna say it wasn't white and it was just dirty.
Mm-hmm.
It to me, it was a dirty blonde. That's what I would call it. But like I say, I mean, there's variables in that as far as the lighting goes.
And again, what did you see of it?
All I saw was basically I saw its full back. I mean, people say how big they are, and you don't appreciate it until you witness it that close. I mean, what I'll compare it to, I have a double door refrigerator, vertical. It was every bit that wide. He wouldn't fit through the door of my house unless turned sideways. I mean, it was friggin' huge. Back, right shoulder, right tricep, elbow, right what I would say is buttock and hip and leg. That is what flared when the light hit it to me. And it was fast. I mean, super fast getting out of there. And it looked like as he had already turned, he was leaning forward into his run hard.
And guys, it's amazing to me. These things are, reportedly, and the one I saw was, like I said years ago, was a pretty good sized creature, and it amazes me at how fast these things can actually run for the size that they are.
And never make a sound.
Right.
Well, that's the other thing I've told. I mean, I've spent my life in the woods hunting, day hunting, night hunting, you name it. I mean, I go out predator hunting. I don't use a light until I absolutely have to. I mean, I will literally walk through the woods in the dark slowly. I was humbled at the speed and how quiet it was. I mean, it rattled me a lot, to be honest, because ever since I've thought to myself, how many times have I had one follow me right on top of me and never knew it?
Yeah.
Because it made no more noise than a house cat as it worked its way to us. The only reason we even had any clue it was there is because it did do those knocks back, and it did grunt twice. And on our way out, because once I saw that was it. I mean, it was time to go. I was like, yeah, we're getting out of here, And actually, about halfway back to the truck, we kept hearing something to our right, and I fired that scope and that IR back up. It scanned a tree line across the pasture, and it grunted at us again for a third time. So he or she, I'm gonna say he probably, for the size, was actually walking us out.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was escorting you guys out.
Yeah. And we went back 2 days later, me and my mom and my daughter and my daddy during the day. Found 3 distinguishable, what I'm sure were footprints. I didn't have a tape measure. I didn't have a way to cast them. Like I say, man, this was all really new for me. I mean, this went from something being interesting, spooky in the woods to like I just saw a massive, hairy, bipedal freaking monster, basically 20 yards away. Anyways, I went and stood where it was standing between the 2 cedar trees and held my right hand over my head as high as I could. And I've measured with my boots on, flat foot, my middle finger, my right hand, fully extended is 7 foot 2 inches. I've done that for scale. And my daughter, actually, her eyes got big. And she said, Daddy, it was taller than that. So.
Did you see Mr. Todd's question here? He says, Travis, did you see any skin color?
No, I did not. All I saw was hair. I have kicked myself ever since. I wished I'd have started. If I'd have started to the right, threw that light on, I'd have hit him right in the face. But just because I did do a fast scan with the light, but because I went left to right, it did have enough time to react to already be turned into that run.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good encounter, man. I wouldn't be too upset with you, man. I mean, that's what you're used to doing. That's a good sighting. That's a good sighting.
Yeah.
You think it's possible that maybe you and Michael might have seen the same thing? I know it's hard to say, and it'd be purely speculation, especially 20-something years apart. But how many dirty white ones are running around out there?
Well, I've actually over the years just talking to people, you tell campfire stories, whatever. I've um I've heard, let's see, this would be two, three, actually three, four different sightings. This is just this secondhand word of mouth from people who didn't know each other. I was just a common denominator in that group over the years that all saw a very light gray one in the same area. So it's all of these sightings are within a 20-mile radius. None of this is that far away. I
It's
mean, we're
probably the same family unit, and that's just a dominant color for them,
yeah.
probably.
Well, I'm yet to hear. I've heard, like I say, several secondhand, and all of them have been on a lighter color. I've never heard anybody say anything about a black one or even a brown one. They're always gray. People say yellow, blonde, red. I'm yet to hear anything about a dark brown or a black one. So
Interesting.
I don't know if maybe it's a particular family group's got this color gene going.
Yeah,
I don't know. Um,
that's what I'm leaning toward, but it's all speculation, man. And until somebody brings one in,
yep.
we're not gonna know. That's sad to say because I'm not for that at all. I'm not for killing
No.
one.
No.
But again, I mean, I'll say it again. It's probably gonna need to happen. As much as I
Oh,
hate it.
that's what it'll take for the skeptics. I mean, and I
Yeah.
agree. I've had so many people, ask me, say, "Well, if you get a chance, you're gonna shoot him." I'm like, "No, why would I?" I'm like, "What would prove it?" I'm like, "Who have I got to prove it to?" I already know. I don't need to do that to prove it for me or anybody else. I just something that rare, unique, and I mean, really, to me, could be that special. I mean, like, really, I mean, we're gonna be so primitive and so archaic that the only way we can really appreciate and understand it, shoot it. Don't get me wrong, one of them comes tearing out the bushes at me,
Oh yeah, I'm taking it
trying to
down.
rip my head off, yeah, that's a whole different story. But no, if I just bump into him out in the woods, I'm hopefully going to get a good picture or video and appreciate that, you know. I mean, and what happened, I may never ever see another one, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, most likely not. I believe you see them either by pure accident or when they decide to let you for some other reason.
I agree with you. I agree with you, buddy.
Yeah.
So we got those two sightings, and then the thermal. You counting that as your third?
Well, I had the one in the night vision. I guess the thermal really, I would say that would make four. Um, the night vision. The only reason I'll say that, like I say, that was we were getting followed out. I lagged behind and hid behind a tree. I didn't know we were getting followed out. It was an experiment, just curiosity. And I thought I heard something coming up a trail, peeked around a tree with a night vision, and there's what looked like golf ball sized eye shine about 10 to 12 inches wide, way up off the ground that sidestepped behind a tree. That rattled me a little bit, and I kind of booted on out of there myself. But
I don't blame you.
I can't explain that away. I mean, all the night hunting I've done, I've seen all kinds of different things in the night vision, the thermal, IR scope. The FLIR video I got was really just on a whim, and I think pure luck. It's a long dirt road, got a high ridge line above it. I had my girlfriend driving. It had rained and rained for like 2 days, and that night it was still light rain, cold, about 40 degrees. And I just want to try it. We actually went. I went down there to take a picture of a realty sign for my daddy for some land for sale. I was just going to scan with a thermal while we were down there, and I had seen a deer only maybe 20 yards up on the bank. It's like it's about a 45-degree grade up. I mean, it's steep. It's actually most of it's got like a granite rock face at the top of it. But I'd seen a deer bedded down maybe 20 yards up the bank, And like I say, I mean, in the FLIR, I know a deer, I know a coyote or a fox. I mean, I've seen rats, rabbits, raccoons, possums, you name it, owls. You know, well, we eased on down the road a little bit more. This is actually more remote than where I grew up. I mean, this is like middle of nowhere. You can go down there at night. There's nobody out there, no vehicles, nothing. This is not a throughway for anybody to travel.
Yeah.
We got down the road a little ways, and that's when I saw. I mean, whatever it was a vertical hit on that FLIR that I've never seen before.
It's good footage. Again, I hate that I can't show it on here. I mean, maybe there is a way, and if anybody is familiar with StreamYard, their technology, how they use it, hit me up. Let me know if it's possible. I probably need to just email or call them and ask them, because the footage that you got is really, really compelling. It looks like a man standing behind a tree out in the woods, just peeking out. And why would there be a man out there? It don't make no sense.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I even had a couple of people ask me, so why don't you go up there and check it out? And I was like, well, it was 40 degrees and raining, and it's about a 45-degree incline, and I was wearing cowboy boots. I wasn't even going to try and climb up that muddy, wet hill in the woods.
Nah, you need to ask them why they don't.
Exactly.
Ask them
Well, the thing is, guys, when you encounter one of these things, especially on thermal or anything like that, that's like you and I, Wayne, encountered those over at Pigeon Mountain a few months ago, or a couple months ago, and you know, you encounter these things like that. If you try to move in on them, they're either going to move completely back and get completely out of sight where you're not going to see them, or maybe you're going to end up putting yourself in you don't need to be in.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, we've gone a little bit over an hour. I figured we would, because Rick and I went a little bit long talking about our expedition last week. It's fine. I could talk to you for a couple more hours, Travis. You've had some good stuff happen to you, buddy. I appreciate you coming on and sharing with us.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah, good deal.
Yeah,
And more than anything,
Georgia, man, and I just like to take this time.
What's that, Rick? You broke up a little bit.
To welcome you to the team.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I told Travis I've really enjoyed his encounters, and I just wanted to welcome him to the team.
Yeah. Same here, buddy. Same here, buddy. We're happy to have you, man. Like I said, tell everybody out there that Travis is a real good dude. Michael spoke really, really highly of him, and I agree with Michael. No, Travis is a good dude. What else you got, buddy?
I was going to tell you real quick at FLIR. I actually posted it on YouTube. I started a channel. I think it's the only video I got. But if you'll look up Travis Bowen, my channel on YouTube, I think I have it titled Possible FLIR Bigfoot. I don't know. You can search, you can find it. It is on YouTube. So anybody wants to see it, if they look around, they should be able to find it.
Okay, and I mean, if you don't mind, I might share what you sent me on our YouTube channel so people can see it.
Yeah. I mean, how anybody wants to watch it, I mean, I'm happy to share. The more eyes, the better. I mean, they might see something I don't. I mean, I was sitting there watching this thing for several minutes, and I couldn't really figure out what I mean, I literally held my phone up and videoed it through the FLIR with my phone as best I could do at the time,
Yeah.
Just so I could get other opinions, because I wasn't figuring out what I was seeing. So,
okay.
Anyways, share it all you want.
Yeah. We'll probably do that again, buddy. I appreciate you coming on, man.
All right. Well, I appreciate y'all having me. Hopefully I'll get some good stuff.
Yeah, man. I'm sure you will. You already got some good stuff. Go get some more good stuff.
Right.
All right, buddy. Have a good night.
All right. Y'all too. Thank you.
Good night, Travis. Thank you, man.
Night, Ricky.
All right, Rick. Travis a good guy, ain't he?
Yeah, he is a good guy. Sure is.
Yeah, he's definitely been a good addition to the team, and going to continue to be so. I'm glad he came on with us.
Yeah, me too. He seems like a very knowledgeable guy. He's had a lot of stuff happen to him, and you know, like I say, I'm very pleased to welcome him to the team.
Well, what about you, buddy? You got anything else before we get off here?
Uh, no, nothing other than as usual. Just folks, be safe out there. If you encounter these things, back out, leave them alone because they will hurt you.
Yeah, and that's obvious. That's really good advice, Ricky. You say it every week. Guys need to pay attention to that. And on another note, other than Bigfoot, everybody, y'all take care of each other out there. It's getting bad. It's scary out there, and it's a headache being stuck at home. But everybody, just do what they're saying. I'm not a conspiracy theory kind of guy or whatever. Just I know I think that they're looking out for us. The government and everything. Just do what they're saying, and let's just get through this thing. With the least amount of casualties as possible. And guys, just take care of each other out there.
That's right, guys. This is going to be. They're hollering this next week's really going to be bad. I know we're at Wayne over 3,000 deaths. I think it is here in the United States now.
I haven't heard. So it's too many.
Yeah, it's getting bad.
All right, guys. Once again, go check out our website, mannimalresearch.com. Send in your encounters. Any questions that you guys might have. We're going to be offering up some items for sale here soon to help the funding of future projects that we're going to have going on in future expeditions. So help us out, show us some love there, and we could use the support, guys. Another way you can support us is by subscribing. Please hit that subscribe button, guys. To everybody that come and hung out with us tonight, we had a couple of our usuals. Mr. Todd, Scottish Wild Man, brother Jonathan, like always here hanging out with us, guys. We appreciate it. Spread the word. And yeah, I guess that's it. You got anything else, Ricky?
No, man, that's it.
All right, guys.
Thank you guys for watching, and y'all be safe.
Yeah, everybody having a good night, and y'all be good to each other. Be safe out there.